What did you just say? A kiss, hissed the alien girl, leaving him speechless. First contact in the asteroid mines. The silence of space was Marcus Chen's only companion as he guided his mining rig through the frontier belt. 6. Months alone among the asteroids had taught him to appreciate the quiet. No corporate oversight, no crowded stations, just him and the endless rocks floating in the void. The isolation paid well enough to make it worth the loneliness. His scanner beeped, breaking the monotony. Not the usual ping of mineral deposits, but something different, something metallic and refined. Marcus adjusted his course, curiosity overcoming caution. In the lawless frontier, unexpected finds could mean salvage rights or trouble. The object came into view against the starfield. A pod, sleek and organic in design unlike any human vessel Marcus had seen. Scorch marks decorated its hull, and one side had been torn open by what looked like weapon fire. Someone had been in a fight and lost. Marcus docked carefully with the damaged craft. The smart move would be reporting it to the authorities, claiming salvage rights through proper channels. But authorities meant questions, and questions meant attention he preferred to avoid. Besides, someone might need help. The pod's interior was a mess of strange symbols and flickering lights. The air smelled like ozone, and something sweet, almost floral. Marcus moved cautiously through the narrow space until he found her. She was curled in what appeared to be an escape chair, unconscious, but breathing. Her appearance made Marcus stop and stare. Humanoid in shape, but covered in short, silvery fur that seemed to shimmer in the emergency lighting. Pointed ears sat atop her head, twitching slightly even in sleep. Her face was delicate, almost human except for the slightly elongated features and small fangs visible between parted lips. Marcus checked for injuries, finding several burns and cuts that had already been treated with some kind of blue gel. Whoever she was, she had medical knowledge. He was debating whether to wake her when golden eyes snapped open, fixing on him with startling intensity. The alien girl moved faster than Marcus expected, springing from the chair into a defensive crouch. She bared her fangs and made a sound that vibrated through the small space. Grrr, she rumbled, the sound somewhere between a growl and a purr. Marcus raised his hands slowly, trying to appear non-threatening. Easy there, I'm not going to hurt you. The girl tilted her head, studying him with those luminous eyes. She repeated the sound, more insistent this time. Grrr. A what? Marcus asked, confused. Are you trying to tell me something? She stood slowly, gracefully despite her injuries. Moving closer, she placed a clawed hand over her chest and made the sound again, softer now. Grrr. Lyra. Understanding dawned on Marcus. Oh, that's your name? Lyra? She nodded, ears perking, forward. Then she pointed at him, waiting. Marcus, he said, pointing to himself. I'm Marcus. Lyra attempted his name, her accent making it sound like Marcus. She moved closer, close enough that Marcus could see the intelligence in her eyes, the weariness too. She gestured to her damaged pod, then to his ship, the question clear despite the language barrier. You need help, Marcus said. It wasn't a question. He could see the desperation beneath her brave facade. Come on, my ship has medical supplies. He turned to lead the way, but Lyra grabbed his arm. Her grip was surprisingly strong. She looked into his eyes and made a series of sounds, urgent and worried. Marcus didn't understand the words, but the meaning was clear. She was warning him about something. Someone's after you, he guessed. Lyra nodded vigorously, then held up 3 fingers and made a slashing motion across her throat. 3 someones, and they were killers. Marcus should have walked away. Should have left her with some supplies and put distance between them. But something in her eyes, a mixture of fierce determination and hidden vulnerability, made him decide. Otherwise, my ship has defensive systems, he said, guiding her through the docking tube. We'll figure this out. Lyra's first reaction to his mining vessel was curiosity. She examined everything, running her fingers over controls and displays, with obvious interest. When Marcus offered her a protein bar from his supplies, she sniffed it cautiously before taking a small bite. Her eyes widened with surprise and she made a pleased trilling sound. Communication was a challenge. They relied on gestures and drawings, slowly building a basic understanding. Marcus learned that Lyra's people were called the Zelani, that she had been traveling alone when attacked. Through crude sketches, she showed him ships pursuing her, firing weapons, forcing her to flee in the escape pod. What struck Marcus most was her resilience. Despite her injuries and situation, Lyra adapted quickly. She helped with ship operations once she understood the systems, her natural agility making her surprisingly effective in zero gravity. When Marcus showed her how to use the food processor, she experimented with combinations, creating something that actually tasted better than his usual fare. 3 days passed in relative peace. Marcus continued his mining operations while Lyra recovered. They developed a rhythm, a wordless understanding. She would watch him work, occasionally pointing out mineral deposits his scanners missed. Her eyesight was remarkable, able to spot valuable ore traces invisible to human eyes. The peace shattered when proximity alarms screamed through the ship. 3 vessels had dropped out of FTL nearby, their configuration unfamiliar, but their intent clear as they moved to surround Marcus's ship. Lyra's reaction was immediate. She grabbed Marcus, pulling him to the floor as the first energy blast struck their shields. She was talking rapidly in her language, but one word came through clear, a word she had learned from him. Run. Marcus scrambled to the pilot seat, throwing the ship into evasive maneuvers. The mining vessel wasn't built for combat, but months in the asteroids had taught him to fly through debris fields. He dove between floating rocks, using them as cover while return fire splashed against stone and ice. Lyra wasn't idle. She had figured out the weapons console, returning fire with surprising accuracy. Her reflexes were faster than human norm, tracking targets Marcus could barely see. But 3 against 1 were bad odds, and their shields were failing. When Lyra did something unexpected. She placed her hand on Marcus's shoulder, and suddenly he could feel her intentions, if not her thoughts. She was directing him toward a dense cluster of asteroids, seeing a path his human eyes couldn't follow. Trusting her instinct, Marcus flew where she guided. The pursuing ships followed, but their larger size worked against them in the tight confines. One clipped an asteroid, spinning out of control. Another lost them in the sensor-confusing metals of the cluster. The third pulled back, unwilling to risk the dangerous pursuit. They had escaped, but barely. Marcus could feel Lyra trembling beside him, exhaustion finally overwhelming her strength. He caught her as she swayed, guided her to his small crew quarters. She curled up on the bunk, looking smaller and more vulnerable than before. "We need to get you somewhere safe," Marcus said, though he wasn't sure she understood. "Those guys will be back." Lyra's eyes found his, and she reached out to touch his face. The contact brought another flash of understanding. Images filled his mind of her home, a peaceful world of crystal cities and singing forests now burning. Her people scattered or enslaved. Her desperate flight to warn others, to find help. The weight of her trust hit Marcus hard. She had no one else, nowhere else to go. In saving her, he had become part of something larger, something dangerous. The sensible thing would be finding a neutral port, leaving her with authorities who could handle this. But Marcus had never been particularly sensible. "All right," he said, squeezing her hand gently. "We're in this together now." Lyra's exhausted smile was worth the trouble he knew was coming. She spoke a single word in accented English, one she must have picked from their time together. Friend. Dangerous alliance. The abandoned station Marcus chose as their temporary refuge had been a mining waypoint before the ore played out. Now it drifted dark and forgotten, perfect for laying low while they figured out their next move. The automated system still functioned, providing air and basic power. Lyra had recovered remarkably fast. Her species healed quicker than humans, the cuts and burns fading to faint marks within days. She explored the station with curious enthusiasm, her natural grace making her movement look almost like dancing. Marcus found himself watching her more than he should, fascinated by how she could be so alien, yet so familiar. Their communication had evolved beyond simple gestures. The brief mental connection during their escape had left something behind, a faint link that grew stronger with proximity. When Lyra concentrated, she could project images and emotions. When Marcus focused, he could sense her intentions. It wasn't telepathy exactly, more like enhanced empathy. The breakthrough came when Marcus shared his food. Not the processed protein bars, but actual food from his private stash. Coffee, chocolate, dried fruit. Treasures he had been saving for special occasions. Lyra's reaction to coffee was amusing, her ears flattening as she made a disgusted face. But when she tried the chocolate, her eyes went wide with wonder. She took his hand, and suddenly the connection flared to life. Not just images now, but concepts, meanings. Language flowed between them, not translating but understanding. Marcus gasped as her thoughts touched his. Gratitude/joy/surprise, her mental voice sang, "You share precious things." Why? You needed help. Marcus thought back, amazed that she could understand. It's what humans do. Not all humans, Lyra corrected, and with the thought came darker images. Human ships among those that had attacked her world. Human corporations making deals with the raiders who enslaved her people. Marcus felt sick. We're involved in this? Lyra nodded, her mental voice sad. Some of your kind trade weapons for slaves. My people's neural pathways make us valuable. We process information differently, see patterns others miss. Your corporations want to study us. Use us. The pieces clicked together in Marcus's mind. The advanced human weapons on the raider ships. The coordination of the attack. This wasn't random piracy, but organized trafficking with human backing. We need evidence, Marcus said aloud. Proof to take to the authorities. Authorities may be involved, Lyra warned. Credits by silence. She was right. The frontier was notoriously corrupt, corporate influence extending to most official channels. But Marcus knew there were still good people, investigators who couldn't be bought. They just needed solid proof. Your pod, Marcus said suddenly. The flight recorder. Lyra's ears perked up. Yes. Visual logs of attack, ship identifications. They worked together to extract the data core from her damaged pod. Lyra's technical knowledge surprised Marcus. Her people were more advanced than he had assumed, their technology just following different principles. Where humans built with metal and circuits, the Zilani grew their ships from modified organic compounds. The recovered data was damning. Clear footage of human corporate vessels working alongside alien raiders. Transmission logs showing payment. Authorizations, delivery schedules for captured Zilani. The company name made Marcus curse. Stellarian Industries, one of the largest mining conglomerates in human space. I've worked for them, Marcus admitted, shame coloring his voice. Before, I went independent. They run half the operations out here. Lyra touched his arm, sending comfort through their link. Not your fault. You didn't know. Her compassion made the decision easier. We're taking this to Sarah Cho. She's a journalist on Horizon Station, one of the few who can't be bought. She broke the Titan colony scandal last year. Dangerous, Lyra observed. They will try to stop us. Let them try. The journey to Horizon Station would take 5 days through normal space. They couldn't risk FTL jumps that would broadcast their position. Marcus plotted a course through shipping lanes, hoping to hide among regular traffic. Lyra proved to be an excellent co-pilot. Her ability to process multiple data streams simultaneously made her invaluable for navigation. She could track dozens of ships at once, identifying potential threats before the computer flagged them. Her only struggle was with human coffee, which she insisted on trying daily despite clearly hating it. Why do you keep drinking it if you don't like it? Marcus asked after watching her force down another sip. You like it, she explained. Want to understand. The simple statement hit harder than it should have. When was the last time someone had tried to understand him? Marcus found himself sharing more than intended, talking about Earth, about why he left, about the loneliness of space that he pretended to enjoy. Lyra listened with patient attention, occasionally sharing her own memories through their link. Her world had been beautiful once, filled with art and music. Her people celebrated connection, touch being sacred to them. To be alone as Marcus had been would be torture for a Zelani. "Is that why you bonded with me?" Marcus asked one evening as they shared dinner. "Because you needed connection?" Lyra was quiet for a moment, her tail swishing thoughtfully. When she looked at him, her golden eyes were serious. Started as need, she admitted. Now as choice. Before Marcus could respond, alarms screamed through the ship. Multiple contacts on an intercept course. Not raiders this time, but corporate security, sleek and deadly. Stellarian had found them. "Surrender for inspection," came the broadcast. "You are carrying stolen corporate property." "They mean you," Marcus growled, anger flaring. "They're calling you property." Lyra's own anger matched his, sharp and fierce through their link. "Never was. Never will be." Marcus opened a channel. "This is independent vessel Mercury's Dream. We're carrying no corporate property. Move aside. Negative Mercury's Dream, prepare for boarding." They had minutes before the corporate ships reached weapons range. Marcus's mind raced through options, all of them bad. His mining vessel couldn't outrun or outfight military-grade interceptors. Lyra placed her hand on his, their connection flaring. "Trust me." She took control of the communications array, her fingers flying over controls with impossible speed. Instead of a message, she sent something else. A pattern. A frequency that made Marcus's teeth ache. The corporate ships suddenly veered off, their formations breaking apart. System warnings flooded their displays as the enemy vessels experienced simultaneous navigation failures. Zelani defense protocol, Lyra explained with a fierce grin. "Disrupts certain processor types. Your military technology is based on designs stolen from us years ago. We left ourselves a backdoor." Marcus laughed, wild and relieved. "Remind me never to make you angry." They reached Horizon Station 12 hours later, the corporate ship still trying to recover their systems. Sarah Cho met them at a discreet docking port, her expression sharp with interest. The journalist was older than Marcus expected, gray-haired and weathered, but her eyes held the fire of someone who still believed truth mattered. The meeting was tense at first. Sarah's skepticism melted as she reviewed the evidence, her expression growing darker with each revealed atrocity. When Lyra demonstrated their mental link, showing Sarah memories directly, the journalist's professional composure finally cracked. "This is bigger than Titan," she breathed. "This could bring down half the frontier corporations." "That's the idea," Marcus said. Sarah looked between them, noting how they unconsciously moved in sync, how they communicated with glances. "You know they'll come for you. Both of you. Even after this breaks. Especially after." "We know," Lyra said through Marcus, her mental voice reaching Sarah through him. "Worth it to save others. Fighting for freedom." Sarah Cho worked fast. Within 6 hours, the story exploded across human space. The evidence was undeniable, the video footage shocking in its clarity. Stellarian's stock price crashed. Arrest warrants were issued. The frontier erupted in outrage as miners and settlers realized they had been unknowingly supporting slave traders. Marcus and Lyra watched the chaos unfold from Sarah's hidden safe house, a converted cargo container in the station's industrial sector. The journalist had insisted they stay out of sight until authority forces could provide protection. "It's not over," Sarah warned. "Stellarian has private military contractors. They'll try to eliminate witnesses before trials can begin." She was right. Through their link, Lyra sensed them first. Hostile presences moving through the station, searching with deadly intent. Not regular security, but professionals, the kind who made problems disappear. 12 of them, Lyra reported, her mental voice tight with concentration. Moving in pairs. "They have our location?" Marcus checked his weapons. One pulse pistol and a mining laser, hardly military grade. "We need to move." Sarah was already packing, her portable drives. "Emergency Dock 7. I have a shuttle waiting." They made it 3 corridors before the first team found them. Laser fire scorched the air where Marcus had been standing, Lyra pulling him down just in time. Her reflexes were faster, her senses sharper, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. What happened next surprised everyone, including Marcus. Lyra touched his shoulder and their link blazed to full strength. Suddenly he could see through her eyes while maintaining his own vision, process her sensory input while adding his tactical knowledge. They moved as one being with two bodies covering angles neither could manage alone. The corporate mercenaries were good, but they were trained to fight individuals, not a paired consciousness. Marcus and Lyra flowed around their attacks, each knowing exactly where the other would be. When Marcus aimed, Lyra was already suppressing the target's partner. When Lyra moved to flank, Marcus provided covering fire without being asked. They carved through the first team, leaving them stunned, but alive. Sarah recorded everything on her camera drone, broadcasting live to prevent Stellarian from claiming self-defense. "How are you doing that?" Sarah asked as they ran. "Bond grows stronger," Lyra explained through Marcus, "becoming more than sum of parts." The second team was ready for them, setting an ambush near the emergency dock. But Lyra sensed their electrical signatures through the walls. Marcus used his mining charges to blow an alternate route, bypassing the trap entirely. They reached the shuttle just as the third team converged on their position. This group was different, not human but Thraxian, four-armed mercenaries known for their brutality. Leading them was someone who made Lyra hiss with recognition. Corvin, her mental voice spat, the slave master who destroyed my world. The Thraxian was massive, scarred, carrying weapons in all four hands. His laugh was like grinding stone. "Little Zelani finally stops running, good. Buyers pay extra for fighters." "She's not for sale." Marcus stepped forward, surprising himself with his calm. Through the link, he felt Lyra's rage and made it his own. "Neither are any of her people." "The human speaks," Corvin mocked. "You think your weak species can stop what has been profitable for generations?" "Watch us," Sarah said, her drone, circling to get better angles. "The whole galaxy is watching, Corvin. Your slave trade ends today." The Thraxian's expression darkened. "Then you all die today." The fight erupted with shocking violence. Corvin's team had plasma weapons, military-grade, shields. Marcus and Lyra had their connection and desperation. It shouldn't have been enough, but humans had something Corvin didn't expect. Adaptability. And Lyra had something the slavers had never encountered, a bond with a human that multiplied both their capabilities. Marcus threw his last mining charge not at the enemy, but at the dock's loading crane above them. Lyra understood instantly, using her disruption frequency to overload its controls. The massive machine crashed down, separating Corvin from his team. In the chaos, Marcus and Lyra moved like deadly dancers. She would blind opponents with her natural speed while he struck with trained precision. He would create distractions while she flanked with predatory grace. Their minds merged so completely that Marcus sometimes forgot which body was his. Corvin finally faced them alone, wounded but still dangerous. "You delay the inevitable. More will come. The trade is too profitable to stop." "No," Lyra said through Marcus, but her voice carried to everyone present. "We are not property. We are not resources. We are people." She moved faster than Marcus had. Ever seen her move? Faster than Corvin could track with 4 arms. Her claws found the gaps in his armor while Marcus's shots struck every weakness she revealed. Together they brought down the slave master who had terrorized dozens of worlds. As Corvin fell, sirens filled the station. Not corporate security but legitimate military forces, finally arriving in response to Sarah's broadcasts. The journalist was still recording, tears streaming down her face as she captured this moment of justice. "We did it." Marcus breathed, exhausted. Lyra leaned against him, their connection humming with shared relief. Together. The aftermath was galactic news. The footage of a human and Zelani fighting as one against slavers became a symbol of interspecies cooperation. Stellarian industries collapsed under criminal investigations, The slave trade networks were exposed and dismantled. Marcus testified at the trials, Lyra beside him translating for other rescued Zelani. Their bond had become something unique, studied by xenobiologists and celebrated by civil rights activists. Some called it evolution, others called it hope. They were offered positions everywhere: military advisors, corporate consultants, diplomatic liaisons. Everyone wanted to understand their connection, to replicate it. But Marcus and Lyra had other plans. "The frontier still needs miners," Marcus said as they stood in the dock of Horizon Station, looking at his old ship now upgraded with Zelani biotechnology. "And there are still Zelani out there who need finding." Lyra's tail wrapped around his waist, a gesture that had become familiar and comforting. "Where you go, I go. Always." Sarah saw them off, her camera drone recording one last time. "What you two have proves something important. Different species aren't just capable of working together. We can become something greater through connection." "We're nothing special," Marcus insisted, uncomfortable with fame. "We just helped each other." "That's exactly what makes it special," Sarah smiled. "In a galaxy where corporations tried to profit from division, you proved that unity is more powerful." As their ship left the station, heading back to the frontier, Lyra curled against Marcus in the pilot seat they now shared. Through their link came contentment mixed with anticipation. There was work to do, people to help, a galaxy to improve. "No more alone," Lyra purred, her mental voice warm with affection. "Never again," Marcus agreed, setting course for the asteroids where their story began. Behind them, Horizon Station broadcast their departure to the galaxy. The human and Zelani who had stood against impossible odds and won. Who had proved that connection transcends species, that trust defeats exploitation, that together, any challenge could be overcome. It was a new beginning for both species. And somewhere in the frontier, among the asteroids and mining stations, Marcus and Lyra continued their work. Not as human and alien, but as partners, friends, and living proof that differences were meant to make us stronger, not divide us. The frontier was vast and dangerous, full of those who would exploit the vulnerable, but it was also full of those willing to stand against injustice, to fight for others regardless of species. Marcus and Lyra had lit a spark. Now others carried the flame. In the void between stars, their ship sailed on, two minds in harmony, ready for whatever challenges awaited. They had each other. That was enough. That was everything.